Okay, I gotta go back. It was funny because I was talking about something. And I left this spoon in my coffee cup right here. This coffee spoon right here. But I accidentally filmed something valuable information. So I had to erase what I just did. So I'm gonna go back and show. I'm in South Lake. It's kind of where I grew up. All this right here, all this house, all this housing development right here, it was all filled. It was all, I was saying pasture earlier, but it's pasture. Like, let's go on a walk pasture in the pasture and go cow tipping. The pasture went on a walk, and the pasture went cow tipping. See, you got the pasture walking in the pasture and going cow tipping. But I grew up here. This is off a trophy club. This is where we used to play soccer in this area. It's a real rich area. This is what I'm going to show you. It looks like a fort. I'm coming up on it right here, and you can see up on the hill right up that way. That's probably like a golf club. I don't know what it is. It looks like an old southern fort. Yeah, I know. I'm moving this way. It's like it looks like a fort, but it's like a golf trophy club. That's probably trophy club area. There's the flag right there. There's another shot over it this way. But I was saying, like, trophy club is kind of a rich area. This was all a pasture when I was younger. It was a big field, just cows, and now it's a big housing development, trophy club. I'm on Mona Val and Kent. Look at this right here. Oh, wow. That is a big fort. So they probably built the forts probably like that in the South, up on the hill during the Civil War, because I got the Civil War thing going, even though I'm wearing a blue coat, as you can see. I'm wearing a blue coat because I lived in New York for a while. I still wear gray every once in a while. So that's probably what one of the forts look like. Maybe. I'm thinking that's trophy club, or like a golf organization group kind of thing. Where'd it go? It's right there. Someone's doing carpentry. But this is a really nice area. Like, NBA stars have lived not too far from here. Probably some Hollywood people. South Lake is where a lot of millionaires live. You go through South Lake, it's nothing but mansion after mansion after mansion. And when I was there, we were raised pretty rich. And my dad, well, we started off in a trailer. My dad worked for the railroad, and we lived on the property of my grandma, who's passed away, and my grandpa. We lived on their property in a trailer. Then after my dad's business flourished, then we moved into a mansion, one of the first mansions in South Lake. And Trophy Club was where we went to go play soccer. Right here. My dad lost everything in a fire. So he was rich in the 80s, 1980s. So in the 80s, I guess the reason I kind of got into filmmaking and stuff, because in the 1980s, my dad allowed me to collect any movie I wanted. So we'd go rent movies at like the family movie place, and I'd take the movie back and we would dub the movie on a blank tape. So we had hundreds of movies, like more than Saddam Hussein. We had a lot of movies. We didn't always have to go to the video store. So if I rented RoboCop, I could just dub it on 2 VCRs. He'd allow me to do that. So I was doing this dubbing stuff when I was like in junior high or middle school, not even thinking about it. Doing this type of filmmaking, editing and stuff. I mean, that's a form of editing. And we just did it so we could have the free movies. We were kind of pirating movies when we were younger, but we were doing it out of video stores, and we had like every movie. I had like all the RoboCops. I had all, what was that? One of my favorites was Beverly Hills Cop. I had all those. I had every Rambo. I had all the Sylvester Stallone movies, Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee. You know, we had all these movies. And everybody did it back in the 80s. You know, they dubbed those tapes like crazy. You know, like Road Warrior and Mad Max and all that stuff. You know, and I'm poor as shit now. I deliver to these people. I'm as poor as they come. Whoops, I'm going the wrong way. I just drop on this one right here. I'm trying to get out of here and talk to you guys at the same time. This is a dog park right here. But I do music, and I've opened my own company, Drive Film Productions of Texas. We're kind of a band too, but we're also. I'm a musician. I'm the other guys. They can sing, but I'm trying to develop my skills. One band I look up to, I think, is the best band ever. Right now, I think they are, is Sun Kill Moon. Mark Kozelek is probably one of the best songwriters that I ever have heard in my entire life, even better than like Jim Morrison and freaking if Jack Kerouac was a songwriter, he would be about the same. I mean, he's basically just like a novelist. You know, he's a book writer, and he's singing, and he's got a stronger voice than most of all the musicians I've ever heard. He could put Chris Cornell to shame at times. When it comes to me crying, I don't really cry to Chris Cornell, but I've listened to Carry Me Ohio, and for I think about a month, I cried every single time I listened to that song. Even the alternative version, is probably one of the best songs I ever heard. And they remind me a lot of a band called Pure Prairie League, if you ever listen to them from the 70s. But they don't really. He does some, like, Mark does some covers like Power of Love. He does some covers like Send in the Clowns and things. I mean, he's a funny guy. Everyone laughs at him, but I mean, you get to laughing, then you start to crying. But anyway, he's taught me a whole lot just listening to his music. I'm completely lost right now, but he's taught me a whole lot just listening to his music. He's kind of like the Neil Cassidy of music. I know, I'm just joking. He has a song about Neil Cassidy. I was thinking more like a Jack Kerouac that has a pretty voice. But he's also, what I like about Mark and Sun Kill Moon is they're the only band, or they're really the only band that play the music exactly how they want to play it, and the lyrics are exactly how they need to be. I'm gonna try it this way. Go this way right here. But I mean, sometimes it sounds like, he comes off as a braggart, but I think what it is just his journal. He's just, reading from his journal, and a lot of times he will come up with like a song. But what I've learned by listening to Sun Kill Moon, I know Washington, I don't know where he's from. I know he's from San Francisco, but what I've learned is that a song is who you are. And it comes out, and you can cover it up. I think David Bowie covered it up. He played these characters. Bob Dylan did a little bit, but David Bowie definitely played these characters. But I think ultimately it always comes out of you. David Bowie was always David Bowie, just like Mark Kozelek is always Mark Kozelek. But he might try. Oh man, I'm still going the wrong way. We might all learn from other musicians. We may learn. I'm gonna try going this way. I'm going to have to cut off here and put in the GPS. We might learn something from a musician. And I think it's okay to take a little bit from them. Maybe he, James Dean took from Marlon Brando. That kind of thing. James Dean was good. Marlon Brando invented something. James Dean kind of revolutionized another thing, and I still think Brando's better. But what I'm trying to say is that, Mark brought in a new he brought in a whole new standard of music that comes from a lot of other musicians, from him listening to a lot of other musicians like Lou Reed and a bunch of other cats that invented a bunch of stuff too, so he developed it and revolutionized it. He's kind of the Roman of the Greeks, but what I've learned to do is wait a minute, I can just tell a story. And this is interesting because I can just tell a story and go on from that way, almost like writing. Just like writing a book, but just, I'm amazed that he has some of these songs memorized. But I know he does. He has a lot of them, but not, I'm sure he's reading some stuff off a teleprompter or something, man. My God. Guy's freaking Laurence Olivier. But anyway, I wanted to take you through parts of Trophy Club. And like I said, I struggle a whole lot. And we're really taking our time with this film that we're working on, the projectionist and everything. And I think it's just a story about, and we're going to try to do our own music. We're going to do a pirated version where we use other people's music and send it out and see how long it lasts. And then we're going to do our own music. But I think what it is let me try going this way. I think it's a warning. It's a story about a warning. It's like a warning of who you get mixed up with, and to learn to find happiness not in other people or other things. Learn not to be obsessed with other people. It's about obsession. It's about learning from your obsession and how dangerous obsession can be. You got to be independent. You got to find your own happiness. I read something where Will Smith was talking about how him and his wife, they both have their own happiness, and they meet somewhere in the middle. But they're both happy independently, and you got to find your happiness in an independent way, and then just stick with that. And that's who you have. You always have you, and that's what it boils down to. I'm gonna turn on the GPS.